Hi everybody, it's Georgia West, Georgia from, I don't even know what video I'm doing anymore. Hi everybody, it's Georgia Rose from Zencuda. I hope you're all doing really well. I have had a really rough 24 hours. I hope I don't look too terrible tonight. I feel this Uranus going into Taurus is really a big thing for me. I don't know. It seems to be, put me on a little bit of a roller coaster with some things in my life. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes till everybody can join us and see, who comes on tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about power struggles and control drama. So this should be a very interesting conversation. Before we get started tonight, I'd really like to talk about the astrology just a little bit. I'm probably going to be doing another video about the astrology tomorrow or Thursday. Probably tomorrow because I have some other plans Thursday. But the astrology right now is pretty heavy. Hey Donna, how are you? Donna is like my raving fan. I love you. So astrology, I just want to say a few things about the astrology before we get. Hi John, how are you? John came over for meatballs the other night. Just want to say a few things about the astrology because before we get started about the power struggles, because that's going to be a really interesting topic. But there's some really important things going on in the next couple of days. Uranus finally makes its move into Taurus. As I said, that's been giving me a run for my money because I'm a Libra sun, so it's been opposing me for 7 years. So now it's going into Taurus, its final degrees. What that means for all of us is the end of quite a lot of lessons. Uranus is the planet of sudden, unexpected change. So anything could happen in the next day or so, and that's happening tomorrow. We also have a new moon tomorrow. The new moon is in Pisces. There's a lot of Pisces energy around right now. What kind of energy is Pisces? Pisces is dreamy. It's psychic. It's the other world. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is actually conjuncting this moon, so it's very, very, very important. Neptune is in Pisces right now at the same degrees as our moon. And when that happens, it makes the planets amplified. It makes them more of the qualities that they are to begin with. So Neptune is a very dreamy type of planet. And when that goes into the moon, which is our emotions, it can really wreak a little bit of havoc with us because it can kind of bring us into illusion and us not seeing reality for what it is. And especially those of you who are readers or healers or do psychic work out there, you may want to really double check your messages and make sure that you're being in truth, because in this kind of a new moon tomorrow, we can really get some very deep illusions and dreaminess. The other octave of that energy is it's really easy for us to connect. This is spiritual energy at its highest form. I'll be interested to hear some of the stories and things that people are saying on Wednesday, because Tuesday night, on Wednesday night, when the new moon comes, we may have some galactic happenings, otherworldly energy. This is really heightened right now. So just know that. So we're having a new moon in Pisces, conjunct Neptune, and also Mercury retrograde in the same sign. Mercury goes retrograde in Pisces. So that also is deep illusion. It's people not telling the truth. Hey, Gary. Mercury retrograde in Pisces with a new moon in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. That is such heightened Pisces energy that not only will otherworldly things be right at our fingertips, but it's also in the three-dimensional world, means that we're going to have a lot of lying. Unfortunate to say, but in Pisces, people really don't tell the truth. The truth eventually comes out. You have a lot of tall tales and that kind of stuff. So if you have any questions about the astrology, just ask it as we go on tonight. And I'm going to get into our subject of power struggles and control drama. Now, I will admit, in the interest of full disclosure, that many times the subjects that are chosen for Tuesday Night Lives are things that are going on in my own life. And what better way for me to learn and evolve and expand as a person. And hopefully, as I'm living my wisdom in my day-to-day life, I can help you guys too, and you guys can help me. And that's what this beautiful community of Zencuda is about. Living our life to the fullest, evolving to our ultimate highest power, and doing it in truth and really authentically with ourselves. So for those of you who have ever read the Celestine Prophecy, it's one of my favorite things. I just actually began rereading it the other day. And it was one of the things, hi Deb, I changed my seat for you. Deb and I were talking about where I usually do my videos the other night. The Celestine Prophecy is a book that I highly recommend to everyone. It's a novel that was written about 20 years ago about evolution. And the premise of the novel, I think there may have been a movie made of it as well. The premise of the novel is that there are four personalities or four types of behavior that we do that are power struggles and or drama. What the four personality or power struggle type dramas are, I just have my notes here because it's a lot of stuff tonight. And please chime in. I want to hear about your experiences and stuff. But the control dramas are, first of all, I'm going to give them in level of passivity. The first one is, I'm looking for my board. The first one is aloof. And being aloof is actually a control drama. And I didn't know that until I read the book. And it is. And how many times do we have someone in our life that is aloof? We ask them questions and they don't really answer, or they're very vague. Well, the reason why they're doing that is to engage you. They want you to focus on them. That's why they're being aloof. It's a control device. It's a power trip. So humans, since the beginning of time, we have anxiety. That's just one of our human qualities. And I always tell everyone, we can't really have anxiety if we stay present in the moment, because anxiety is always either a fear of the future or something in the past. So when we're present in the moment, anxiety can't exist. It's not real, because it is the illusion of the present or past being frightening for us. So if you think about it, the human condition has a lot of anxiety, even without all the things and worrying about what we do for a living, et cetera, et cetera. There are things ingrained in us. And one of them is, what happens when we die? What happens in the afterlife? So we're afraid of that. We're worried about that. And it's an underlying feeling. So we actually have anxieties and underlying fears that we just come into this universe with. It's our human condition. And one of the ways that we, in our human condition, feel secure and have learned to, alleviate our own fears is to take energy from other people. And in that connection of taking energy, we can do it in a good way, right? When we have beautiful communities and circles and drum circles and Reiki and healing and meditation, and we're all collectively taking energy from each other in a good way. Or our defense mechanism is to steal another person's energy for our use because we get depleted in our own anxiety and fear. So all day, every day, humans are stealing energy from one another. It's just what we do. And I'll talk about later in the video a way to combat that. But what happens is we learn four basic behaviors of ways that we steal energy from each other. And one of the first ones is being aloof. If you're aloof and you don't give someone answers to questions, they suddenly are much more focused on you than they would be to begin with. Those one-word answers or very vague answers to questions make someone step into your energy field. And when they do that, you can grab their energy, right? So we do that as a defense mechanism. And when we're fighting or we're in a struggle with someone who is an aloof personality or has learned that aloof control behavior, we start to feel very different too, because they're taking our energy from us. And how do we respond to that? Well, we feel worse and they feel better. But it also creates a dynamic where the aloof creates an interrogator. And that's one of the other personalities. And the interrogative personality uses questions to control. I'm sure we've all had them. Maybe you've had a parent like this. But they come in and they ask you a million questions. Or you come into your home, come home from school, or you come home from work, maybe your spouse is like this, and they just ask you a million questions about your day. And they keep interrogating and interrogating. But they're not really asking the questions because they want to know about what your day was like. They're really asking the questions to find information that they can criticize you about. For instance, they may ask you, so what did you have for lunch today? And you'll say, oh, I really shouldn't have, but I went and had ice cream. And they'll say, oh, see, you're your own worst enemy. You got to eat the ice cream, and then I hear about how you don't fit in your jeans, right? So they're really using the information to criticize you. And when they do that, you get depleted because they've taken your energy. Because now your focus is no longer on you and answering the questions about how your day is. Now your focus becomes seeing yourself in their eyes. And you find yourself, when you have an interrogator in your life, you find yourself starting to censor your answers or not answering at all. The interrogator creates an aloof personality, an aloof defense. So you can see how these all intertwine, and that's how we struggle for power. So the interrogator is really asking questions to become a critic, and no one likes to be criticized. So usually they end up feeling better because now your focus is on them. Instead of thinking about yourself and your day, You're thinking about how I can censor my answers to those questions so I don't get criticized. And pretty soon you're censoring your whole life because the interrogator has you under scrutiny 24 hours a day. They've completely stolen your power, and you're in the loss of power. Another personality type is the poor me. Now, we're all guilty of the poor me. Don't tell me you're not, because I know you are. And we do the poor me when we want someone to focus completely on us. We've had a bad day, we're needy, maybe we've had wounds inflicted on us by other people or in our past, and we just want someone to be there for us. We want love and affection. But instead of coming out and saying, I really need you to be here for me, or I need a big hug, or I need you to be with me, I need love from you, we start to play the poor me card. And no one has a life worse than us. And oh, we've been sick for years, and oh, we have so much pain, and yada, 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 yada. But why are we doing that? We're doing that because we want someone to come into our space, focus on us entirely, so we can grab their energy and feel better and more safe and more secure. And that's the power trip. So, and if you just came in, you can watch this video from the beginning, which I strongly suggest. So the poor me is a control behavior. And when we go into that poor me, we will drag everyone around us into that energy field with us. Because what the poor me really wants is your energy. They want you to focus. They want you to sit at the edge of the bed. They want you to be on the phone for hours. A lot of times we refer to them as the energy vampire, right? But we're all guilty of these behaviors. And when we talk about these 4 personality behaviors, I think it's really important for us not just to think about how we may be living with someone like that and, oh, that was done to me. Yeah, I had a poor me in my life. I had to get rid of them. No, I want us to think about the times when we've exhibited these behaviors, because they are our defense mechanisms ingrained in us from the moment that we were born in our first lifetime. We all have fear. We all have deep anxiety about what happens when we die. What happens if this happens? What happens if we don't make a living? We all live with fear and anxiety. And the way the human body, the way the human mind and soul automatically plays with that energy is we need someone else's energy to make it better. We need someone else's energy to make it secure. And so we don't get that energy in a healthy way. We grab it and we manipulate it and we go into power struggles and drama control. And the control dramas can be insidious. We don't know we're doing them. You can condemn and criticize someone who maybe is an aloof person and uses those short one-word answers to get attention. And you can condemn that person and criticize that person, but they don't even know they're doing it most of the time unless they've had some real spiritual development where they've gone deep within and said, wow, that's the control drama I've used. And as I said, reading the Celestine Prophecy opened that up for me. I just actually spent a couple of hours rereading it this morning and revisiting it in order to do this video. And I highly recommend that book to everybody out there who's watching, because it's the power struggles and the drama control that we play out in our relationships, in our workplace, everywhere in life. And if we can get out of those power struggles and those dynamics, we would be in such a higher octave of living truly from our souls. Now, the last personality or last control drama, the last power struggle, the last way we get control is the intimidator. And if you notice, all of these have a graduated level of passivity or aggression. The aloof and the poor me are very passive, but the interrogator and the intimidator are aggressive. And all of these personality traits, all of these power struggle, power dynamics are actually created from each other. And so the intimidator is the highest aggressive level of power struggle. And what will happen is with an intimidator, they may start out using a scare tactic for something that could be very, very insidious. It could be very benign. You know, we all have those or else's, right? We use them with children. And it could be something like, oh, if you don't stop, I'm leaving. You know, I'm not going to the store with you if you don't let me watch my TV show. You know, something so juvenile as that. That's an intimidator. That is someone who uses a power struggle or an intimidation or a scare tactic in order to grab your energy. They're not looking to just, you know, try and steal your energy like the poor me or the aloof person. The intimidator is just going to knock you over and take your energy. That is their MO. That is how they are. And an intimidator is usually someone that has been abused at one point in their life and learned that behavior. And the way it happens is each one of these behaviors creates another behavior in the category. For instance, the aloof. If you grew up with a parent who was very aloof and didn't really give you a lot of attention, or maybe you grew up with a parent who wasn't always there, maybe they worked or they were really into their career, or maybe you had a childhood where people left you and you were abandoned a lot. Well, the first thing the aloof is going to do is create the poor me. And so you're going to whine and cry, and you're going to tell your mom that your brother hit you and that someone at school is bullying you because you're trying to steal mom's attention because she's very aloof. But when the poor me doesn't work, the aloof breeds an interrogator. And so now you'll come home from school and you'll ask your mother a million questions trying to get her attention. Mommy, mommy, what are we going to do on Saturday? Mommy, mommy, where did you go today? What did you do at work? What do you do at work? Who do you see? Where are we going later? Because that child just wants to break the aloof. They just want attention. They want to steal the attention. That will make them feel better. So now maybe the interrogator doesn't work on the aloof. And the next level is the intimidator. The child will start throwing temper tantrums. The child will start refusing to go places. They won't get in the car with you when you need to go somewhere because they're going to get the aloof's attention any way they can. And that's how our power struggles start to ensure and act out our patterns in our life. And so, for instance, take the poor me. What if you have a parent who's a poor me? How are you going to deal with the poor me? You're going to become an interrogator. You're going to become an intimidator if the interrogation doesn't work. Because when that poor me is laying in bed with the headache and the this and the that, oh, I can't deal with this. I've been in this pain for years. You have to cook dinner for me. Well, then the child starts asking a lot of questions. Mommy, why do you have pain? Mommy, why are you like this? Mommy, why are you... And the poor me isn't going to answer those questions. The poor me is going to make it the child's fault. The poor me is going to guilt that child into the fact that they're in pain or they have a horrible life and why do they have to be like this and why can't they just be a good child? And so then that child learns shame and learns guilt. And what do we do with shame and guilt? We want energy to cure that. So now we become the interrogator, the intimidator, trying to get someone else's energy. So you see how this all interweaves the web and it all plays together. And so our defense mechanisms for power, the only thing that's going to make us feel better is more power, because to have more energy makes us feel safer. It makes us feel more secure, right? So how do we break the patterns of all of these interactions and all this psychological violence? Because that's really what it is. And so that's why if you're a kid or you're growing up and you have an intimidator for a parent, you're going to grow up to be an intimidator. Because the intimidator, there's no other action that will get the intimidator's attention. You can try to be aloof, they'll just intimidate you more. You can try to be poor me, they don't give a rat's ass if you're crying or you're hurt or you're sick. The intimidator wants to take you down. You can start asking questions. Daddy, what did I do? Daddy, why are you so mad? The intimidator is beyond that. They're just in intimidation. They just want to frighten you and take your energy and make you someone who's inferior to them. This is all about dominance, because the more dominant we become, the safer we feel, right? Vulnerability doesn't feel comfortable in the natural state. So in order to avoid that vulnerability, we're going to pick any one of these 4 categories and act it out so that we get someone's energy without being vulnerable. And that's the misconception about life, is that we go into a power struggle to get what we want, and we don't even really know we're doing it. And the first step to knowing that we're doing it is we have to go back into our past, into our childhood. And I know for some of you out there that's going to sound like wah, 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 right? But that's what you have to do, because we were created in these conditioning and behaviors. And people, they're ruining our lives. They're ruining our relationships. And it's not our parents' fault. It's not grandma's fault. It's not grandpa's fault. Some of these situations may have occurred because maybe your parents had disability. Maybe your parents were physically ill. That isn't their fault. It's just generational. It's generational trauma and generational psychological violence. And it's nobody's fault. There's no blame. But the way to cure it is in love. And the first way to do that is to go back, see what the pattern is that you need to break. Put love there. Love is the answer to everything. Everything. And I realized that last night. I had a really rough, as I said, 24 hours with some things that I had to really come to terms with, and go deep diving this morning and really look at myself and say, what are these patterns in my own life? And why are they blocking me from getting what I really, really want? And it's because we're all in these power struggles and drama control, and they don't work. They don't work. You may feel better for a little while. You may feel more safe in that false dominance, but that's not really what you want. You want to feel safe all the time. And how do we do that? Okay. So the first step is, I'm just looking at my board because I always have to write bullet points because I can't remember all these things that I want to say. So the first thing is we have to realize that we're trying to gain power from an external. We're trying to gain power from taking it from someone else. And that's not ever going to really make us feel good because we really don't want to do that. Oh, I'm fine, Donna, don't worry. Spiritual growth is the best thing ever, right? Hey, Brian. So, and I'm a Scorpio. I love to wallow in it for a little while. So, whatever. So anyway, so those dramas don't work because they end up bringing us to a place of more need. And all of this is because we're trying to fill a need, right? So how do we fill that need? We have to go within. We have to learn to love ourselves. We have to learn to forgive ourselves for the detriment. We have to learn to forgive ourselves for the bad behaviors we may have had in the past. We have to learn to forgive ourselves for the psychological violence that maybe we did to others because we learned that. You know, we're born insecure. We're born scared. We want to feel better, so we do what humans do. It's nobody's fault, right? So we really want is the higher experience. And the higher experience comes from love. The higher experience comes from facing the fear of what the dominance causes, right? We're afraid to be without the dominance, and yet that dominance causes more fear because it makes us feel bad about the things we do. We get the guilt, we get the shame. So if we go into the higher level of experience, we learn forgiveness for everything that's gone before, and we learn a new way. We learn a higher way. We learn to alleviate our demand for attention by fulfilling ourselves with a higher level of attention. And what is that attention? It's attention that we give ourselves, whether that's in a meditation, whether that is in a joy that we have in our life. Maybe it's dancing or fishing or going to the gym. And we fill ourselves up with that till we overflow. And then we have no need for a power struggle. And when we find ourselves in one, it becomes about the learning. It becomes in this moment, not how can I win this? How can I be dominant? How can I be aggressive enough to get the attention and the focus on me again? No. Then the dynamic becomes, what am I supposed to learn from this moment? Why am I in this moment? Where is it supposed to bring me? What does it need from me to learn? I need to use this moment to go forward in my life, not backwards into the dominance and the aggression and the power struggle. And so, hey, Kat, you stayed up. And so that's where we need to be, is forward, move forward. Bring the energy of love, fulfillment forward. Forget those power struggles. Forget the lower energy of them. Forget the yelling and the screaming and the manipulation, the aloofness, the poor me, the interrogation to find criticism, the intimidation because you just want it all back on you. I will be heard. No, the way to be heard is fulfill yourself and have something really meaningful to say. And then people will listen. And so, thank you, Nick. So, we all have this wisdom. I'm just brave enough to stick a camera in my face. So, when we go into the power struggle, it breaks our spirit. When we go into the love and the learning, it brings our spirit up. It elevates us. And that's really what the Celestine prophecy teaches, is that we are an evolution, we are a species in evolution of a higher level. And this is all happening. This is all happening. It's the critical mass. And the critical mass means that there's enough in the collective that understands and feels this way now and doesn't want to get dragged back into the power struggles and the things that make us sick and the things that make us angry and hurt and physically depleted. We want to go to the higher octave of what our species is meant to do. And that is truly going into the love and the fulfillment from a higher source. So the more we fulfill ourselves from the higher source, then we don't need to go to each other to fill our needs and steal the energy in insidious ways, in manipulative ways, ways that we don't even know we're doing, but we are. And so if we can do that, then our energy changes. And suddenly those power struggles collapse because we drop the rope. We're not pulling and tugging with the other person. Somebody drops the rope, and the power struggle stops. And that's really the answer, is to go within, really illuminate and enlighten yourself on what your dynamics are in the power struggles. Take responsibility for those things without shame, without guilt. There's no room for that. Take responsibility for it, just to correct it. Be grateful you see it. You know, say, thank you, God, for giving me this moment in my life that I can see my pattern, so I can break it, cleanse it, and sweep it off the porch for good, so I can truly have loving relationships with the people that I know and I really love. And Brian, that's so beautiful. Brian just said that that's how he's viewing life right now with these energies. And that's why I wanted to do this particular video tonight. As I said, most of the time these videos are reflective of what is going on in my own life and the energy that I'm feeling from the collective and from the universe. I truly believe every minute of my life is a lesson. And while sometimes they may be very harsh and I wish the universe was more gentle with me, I don't always get that. And so, you know, it's really funny that I had some of these revelations in the last couple of days, as Uranus is just in the last degree of Aries, which was a very heavy transit for me this last decade. And it's true, Brian. I think that people are coming into this energy naturally now. We're all seeking and striving a better way. And I think that, you know, the Celestine Prophecy was written 20 years ago. And we should all just picked up that book again. He just wrote a new foreword to it in 2018. And boy, is it right on the money. I mean, it is really, really exactly where we are right now in our society, and in for those of us who are becoming awake to what our faults are, and not having the judgment. So I think that we just need to disengage, and instead of going for the win, go for the learn. You know, and if we can do that, then we become truly in such beautiful vulnerability with each other without the dominance, you know, which is what all of us seem to be craving, is that dominance. So I think that was almost everything that I needed to say tonight. I do think, you know, I don't want to blame parents for things, because I've really resolved a lot of those issues in my life, and came to understand, actually, when my dad was dying and I was with him on his deathbed, I reconciled a lot of things, because I realized that before I came along, he had a life. You know, before I came into the picture, my father was a father and a son and a husband and a brother and a nephew and an uncle and all those things, and his life was not easy for him. And so when I looked at him that way and saw just the human being and the soul, it no longer became a struggle of, what did this person do to me? Why did this have to be my life, or any of that? I was able to see joy. I was able to see gratitude for certain things about him, and know that he did the best he could. And I think that's all we're all trying to do. And if we'd cut each other all a little slack, maybe things would go a lot better for everybody. Yes, Donna, definitely look at the book. But I don't want to give parents a bad rap. I think all parents, you know, I don't have children, but all parents that I know who have children and who, you know, have had all of us, I think that they all did the best they could, you know. So this certainly isn't blaming parents, but I think that we do have to go back to find our patterns and what created us. You know, I know in my life, I had an intimidator and an aloof. And so I vacillate in my life between the aloof, the intimidator, the interrogator, and the poor me. I have all four. And these last decade, I've completely evolved to almost never being in that behavior. But there are things that happen in life to sometimes put us back there, so we can correct even more and elevate even higher. And that's really important, because we're human. We're having a human experience here. And we're supposed to go into those energies sometimes, because then a healing will occur. If we never go into those energies, we can't heal it. So don't ever apologize. Just be authentically who you are. Thank you, Colleen. And you do have a reading coming up. I saw your message. So we'll get to that. Yeah, the Celestine Prophecies. It just came to me and really started rereading that. And it was just amazing to me how appropriate it is for this time. Brian says, this is what he tries to convey to his older sister and brother. And I have to say, I hope that the energy of this video goes out to many, many people this evening who I know really need to hear this. But it's also, as much as we try to show people and show ourselves, you know, sometimes we don't even get it, you know. And I have those moments myself. I like to think of myself as pretty evolved, but I still go into behaviors that are egregious sometimes, because I'm in a healing phase, you know. But I think when we try to talk to our siblings or others, they have to get it themselves. We can't always awaken another. I think that the process of awoke comes from within. And I'm just grateful that, I keep having awakenings and that God keeps bringing me to a higher place in my life and inspires me to do things like Zenkuda, because I think that this community where we can all share and be in, I hope it gets bigger and bigger. Our next video is probably going to be on YouTube instead of Facebook in order to, accommodate that. And I just hope that we really do have a safe and secure place where in this place there is no power struggle. There is no drama, control dramas. There is no judgment. In this space of Zenkuda, we're free to be completely authentic and lead with our soul. And in doing that, we become the highest potential of who we are. We demonstrate our highest potential in our life. And that's really my goal, and I hope it's your goal too out there. So yeah, it's sometimes hard to, especially with family members, get them to understand the higher octave of these energies. And I just put love there. Many times if I'm in conflict with another, I kind of step out a little bit of it. Even if I'm still in the room, I step out mentally and I just say prayers to my angels. And I say, please show me what this is. Please show me how I'm supposed to respond. Please show me the best way I can do this. And please help me build a better human in myself. And that's not always easy. But, we all, like I say, are having the human experience. So I think that's about it. Don't go into those power struggles, okay? Because you're just distracting energy from yourself that you should be using to empower yourself to live the best life you can possibly live, living the Zenkuda life in our body, in our minds, in our careers and business, and especially in the higher octave of the five senses and beyond the five senses. So if anybody has anything else they want to chime in with, just reading my last note. Oh, okay, this is what I had written. Okay, so it's natural for human beings to seek connection by force. It's just, that's how we're wired. When we're intimidated, we want to lash out. It's like the tiger, right? But what we have to do is seek connection through love, and seek connection not through force, but by being in it with someone first, offering something. And then in that connection, the energy mingles and you become this beautiful ball of energy and love if you offer it, right? Brian says, I know this energy is bringing up past life issues that have manifested over the years. Yeah, it's interesting because I also have been reading a lot about generational trauma. I think I had recommended the book to a couple of people. It's called It Didn't Start With Me. And it's a really interesting book about how we carry things even from relatives that we've never met. And the past life energy is also coming up because we have a very, very, very strong Mercury retrograde this time is in Pisces. And in the beginning of the video, I started out with just a little bit of the astrology. I need to do an astrology video because there's a lot of stuff happening. Probably do that one night this week. But right now we have a new moon coming in Pisces, which is very highly psychic, very charged energy, but also illusion. So sometimes we'll think we'll swear, oh, this is it, I know this is the thing. And then Pisces and Neptune come in and they're like, no, it's not. So there's actually a gnat flying around here. How does that happen? It's like 30 degrees out. Hi, gnat. Maybe it's some past relative. So anyway, the new moon is conjuncting, which means it's right on top of Neptune and also the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So we've got a lot of Pisces energy coming in. And of course, new moons and new beginnings. So don't be surprised if people from your past come back, especially romantically. Could be somebody from your childhood. But yeah, that'll bring in past life issues. So definitely know that's for the whole month. And actually, Neptune stays in Pisces for like 9 weeks this time. So it's not coming out of Pisces until I think April 17th. So it's been there a while. So, oh, thank you, Colleen. Thank you. And I hope that you all have a great week. And I'll be back, I guess, sometime next week. So definitely work on those energies. The best way to use Neptune and the new moon is to set your intentions. And to also, because it's Neptune, highly psychic, if you can meditate on the new moon, that'll really be great energy for you. So it is a fruit fly. Oh, okay, I'm going to do that, Kat. I have my Ted, what's his name, Animal Speak book right behind me in my bookcase. So Kat is saying to look up what the fruit fly means. I'm sure it means something very profound this evening. I hope it means abundance because I really want Zenkuda to take off. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry this is a really long goodbye. I just don't want to leave you guys. I love you so much. And please find me on Zenkuda Official on Instagram, Zenkuda by Georgia Rose on Facebook, and also Zenkuda on YouTube. Please, please, please subscribe, because after I got my first 100 subscribers, I can do a lot more with the channel. All right? So thank you so much, and thank you so much for your support. If you want a private reading, PM me on this site, and I will get right back to you. Thank you so much. Hi, Elaine. If you just came on, you could always play the videos back. We actually upload them. So I love you all. Have a great couple of days, and I'll see you at the end of the week. Bye-bye.